with that lovely best of 5. In the bottom left side, that's a blue little Zerg. He is pretty darn great at this game. And he's from Kaiser Gaming, Mr. Solar. Mr. Solar. In the top right side, quiet, in the top right side, Red Brodels player, Hurricane. Where the hell, in what team is he right now? What team are you in right now, Hurricane? Something I did not manage to figure out beforehand. I feel like I know most players by now, but then sometimes it's just something happens where I'm like, wait a moment. I'm not sure. And actually that's good reason. Hurricane apparently teamless right now. So he's just the Protoss in the red. That is all he is at the moment. Coming across the map with that little probe. We'll not be able to get that hatchery block because that one does seem to be quite early on. I think there may have been even a 15 hatch or a 16 hatch. But yeah, it looks like Solar not really keen on getting his own hatchery blocked. Wants to have that close at his own base. Alright. Fairly quick with the 3 drones on the gas as well. What is Hurricane doing? Grabbing that Nexus, very standard stuff here. Again, I mean, it is a big map, so a lot of people will attempt the big macro play on it. But of course, it's also a map that does seem to favor Zerg quite heavily. So that's something to keep in mind here as we look out what Hurricane is planning to do. The Cybercore is about to finish up. I would assume we're going to see a Stargate. Stargate, one of the better tools in the Protoss arsenal in order to get himself that distance covered, of course, of that big map. And there it is, indeed, it will be the Stargate. A Twilight Council also a possibility, but I mean, with that hatchery already at the natural, instead of at the third base, it becomes a bit more difficult for the adepts to really get their jars kind of into those mineral lines. So going for the Stargate, I think, is an excellent idea here for Hurricane. Probably the better of the options. And the next question, of course, will be, will we have a Void Ray, Oracle, or Phoenix? Now, it could be a bit of all of those, right? All of the above. It is going to start off as a Void Ray here. I do enjoy myself a bit of Void Ray action. This could be a bit nasty as well. Quite a lot of Spore Crawlers might have to be created here. Alright, only 2 of them. Could have been worse, but the Adept does manage to get out as well, so it's always good, of course. Void Ray, let's see. Could still become an Oracle afterwards, of course. Oracle's very common to be utilized here at the points after the Void Ray. Will it be? There's a Twilight Council on the way after this, actually. That on its own, already kind of interesting. Could still transition into that Adept Glaive attack, of course. Just have the Void Ray as a tool to kind of deny any type of scouting here for Solar. And with the delay overall in the Adept Glaive, sometimes Zergs can be caught with their pants down when it comes to Adepts with Glaives in particular. I mean, if you just barely overdroned against an army like that, or if you don't have yourself that Roach Warren ready and rearing to go, then that could be one of the worst things imaginable for you. And game ending, as they say. One Overlord just barely being able to squeeze himself away from the vision range of that Void Ray there. Quite a lot of links here coming over. Oracle does seem to have a bit of a grasp on what's happening. Actually, no, well, yeah, he should do. I guess Solar already anticipating that, you know what, with that Oracle, the Void Ray there, I'm not going to be able to do much. I'm not going to be able to get the cancel I'm looking for. Again, trying to just go around the Oracle instead. Does manage to do so this time around. But we do have the Adept over there. We should have 2 more weapons available, right? I would imagine we would. Yeah, should be the case. Now, behind this, of course, we do have the glaive adepts still coming up, and there's that robo as well. Solar, I mean, will it work against Solar in this state that he's in right now? I'm not entirely certain. He's got a very solid drone count. It's not too high, it's not too low. He's got himself those Zerglings already. Not too many, maybe could use a couple more, but the main the thing is here, he's got himself quite a few roaches, and the roach is really the main thing you need against those adepts, of course. Now, there we go. That is the scout. Solar gonna be feeling pretty keen on just kind of meeting these adepts as they're trying to get into this base here. Does he have enough? Oh dear, he was trying to get a block off there, I believe, but may have just cancelled it in order to get more of his units out. Now the adepts will take that opportunity and just rush straight into the main base. So far, not too many workers have gone down just yet, but at the same time, there's still quite a lot of adepts remaining, ready to get that damage sorted. We have a Warp Prism, I believe, somewhere else on the way also. No? Okay, that's a straight out lie that I just did. We'll make the recall happen though, and have one more adept that was a little bit too low on HP to really get anything done. But, yeah, how many workers was that? That was like 8 workers? Yeah, 8 workers. I mean, probably not as much as you're looking for, but it's alright, I suppose. He got a lot of the links as well. He's getting some more value right now. One of the things as well, Solar's, I mean, his drone count wasn't too high anyway, right? So he didn't have to do insane amounts of damage, but still think that Solar's in a pretty good spot right now. He's got a solid army count. He's got pretty good solid units. So he's happy to drone away quite rapidly now. Get himself as much of the economy going as he can. Well, Hurricane is kind of stuck in his own base. He could attempt, of course, a bit of a attack as well, still with the sentries and the immortals. I kind of anticipate that we will. I mean, oh, thank you for that follow. Yeah, I would anticipate that we are going to see a bit of a push out here still, considering the sentry and immortal numbers. Although we're seeing a lot of hallucinated phoenixes here coming in. Maybe a sign that he is planning to stay back home, spending that much of the energy here, of course. Robo Bay as well, of course, now has been created, constructed, warped in, but that's not going to hold him. He's not going to sit here, wait around for that to actually be useful. Will still make the move across the map. Does he have an observer with him as well? No, he does not. That's the problem of delaying your robo by this extent, of course. These other things become quite more difficult. I think he also lost the Oracle as well, right? Yeah, we did pick up on that. So there's no way for him to clear any creep here, which can be quite devastating. But anyway, let's see how this goes. The Banelings have been constructed. They could be pretty good against those Stalkers. But still quite a couple of force fields. Actually, is that all the force field energy that we have now? I think it may be. Oh dear. No more force field energy, so Solar here kind of having to make it work with what he has. He's landing some pretty decent biles. He's trying to get... There we go. There's the Baneling connections that you're looking for. But Banelings haven't been the best against Stalkers for a while now. Oh, the drones have to be pulled. The Immortal still, I mean, probably not getting micro to the extreme utmost effect that they should be able to with that Warp Prism, because the Warp Prism was just in warping mode. But you know what? Hurricane gets pushed backwards. Solar will remain on that full base economy. Gonna be a 5 base economy momentarily. And yeah, it's looking really good in this position now after that. He's gonna get himself the Hive Tech as well. Of course, Hurricane also getting himself along the tech route a little bit further. But is definitely struggling here, economically speaking, and of course taking the bigger blow towards his army there because of it. I mean, sure, he traded out fairly equally, but trading out equally against somebody that is much further ahead in the economy game It's never quite equal, is it? May appear equal, but that is just an optical illusion. Huh. Still have that Void Ray around as well. A bit surprised that perhaps the Void Ray wasn't really partaking in the entire battle there. May want to consider getting that Oracle or the Void Ray back at home now, because that could be extremely useful against all these ground-based troops from Solar. If that Void Ray would just be shooting away at these roaches and the banelings, that could be wonderful. It's gonna deny that base, but it looks like the Immortals and the Zealots will be able to do some counter damage here as well, so making things a little bit more bearable for Mr. Hurricane. Although, of course, we do have this other base as well already established, so it's not the end of the world either for Solar here. Great bit of counter-attack there from Hurricane. Even though I'm still quite terrified of the situation here for him. At least he got himself a bit of a foot in the door, right? That may be enough for him to, if he holds this, of course, to kind of wiggle his way back into this game, but it's definitely going to be a rough one for him. He's got Disruptors, though. Disruptors, the miracle workers of the StarCraft universe. Not a cancel on that base, so well done, well done. You know, at this point I'd say, Solar, just take yourself that base. That's on the 5 o'clock. Wait, that's the 4 o'clock. Is it the 3 o'clock? I don't know how to do clocks anymore. Losing one of the queens. Yeah, this is starting to be a little bit difficult here for our little Zerg. Still nothing there quite to really deal with that War Prism. He's still sticking to the Zergling, Baneling, Ravager kind of army composition, which does have me worried here for Solar. I guess he also made the Vipers, which he could have used to try and get rid of this as well. Why is he dropping them at the same place? There are other places you can drop Hurricane. You don't have to drop over here, especially because there's already a lot of Zerg units there. Oh well, anyway. Now with the continuous denial of that 5th base, I'm starting to see maybe a little bit of hope here for Hurricane. He held on against the army of Solar as well. They need to do it again here. That's some great Baneling hits though. Disruptor hit, not too shabby either. Let's see, the Storms forcing a lot of those Zerg units back. Or did Hurricane just kind of spread himself too thin? It's definitely not looking the greatest. A lot of Banelings are connecting onto the Archons here, which is never a really efficient way of doing things. And now, look at this Zerg army. It's not really anything anymore. Definitely something Hurricane can try to chase down for a little bit of time here. And he's getting on top of this other base as well. Does manage to get a good bit of pickup micro going with that Immortal this time. And maybe even might be able to get himself a cancel on that base. Ooh, that's a lot of Zerglings. Adrenal Glands has been upgraded here, so these ones are absolutely killing machines right now. Great micro with that Colossi, but it does not seem like it will be enough. Solar may have found himself enough damage here to really start pushing this through. Once again, getting a kill on that Nexus right there, and alright, I think it's a cancel actually. Counter-attack damage still raking in also, but I do believe that this has become too much to handle right now for Hurricane back at home. Only 26 army supply strong. There we are. GG is called. Solar takes game number 1 after a bit of a back and forth there. Ultimately did manage to get the upper hand going for himself after a little bit of a struggle. Don't want reality seeping in here. There we go. Not sure how much of energy I'm getting across here with the casting this way, but we're trying. We're trying. Also, it is cold. Man, it is bloody freezing right now. Should have turned on the heater at some point. It's too late for it now. It's too late. We're stuck doing this in the cold. Romanticide. Romanticide. Big map again here, right? Another big macro map. It's a little bit less Zerg favored though, right? You don't have the speed zones as much. You don't have as many runaround pathways, I suppose, that are quite quickly linked up with one another. That's the main important thing there. Still have runaround paths still and Giganother, but you know what? We'll look into it once we jump in here. With 1 point on the board, it's the blue Zerg player for Kaisi Gaming, Mr. Solar. In the bottom right side, we got ourselves a red Protoss. Fighting teamless right now, but he's still pretty darn good, Mr. Hurricane. What's up, Malachan? How you doing today? It's very early for me. Oh, thank you for the follow. That's, well, you know, at least we're getting that stuff settled here. That's nice. Anyway, what was I saying? Romanticide, right. Okay, so there are still pathways you can take to run around, but one of the main things is, as a Zerg player, you are looking for, well, those big flanking areas. And of course, there are some areas where you can make something like that work, right? This is a good example, I'd say. This is what you would very often find kind of as an in-between dead space of a third and a second base, right? There's a ramp over here, and then there's a ramp over here. And a Zerg player will try to utilize that by kind of splitting off a couple of roaches over here, and then kind of create a bigger concave. Now, Romanticide, not really a map that allows for that, of course, because there's all this dead space over here, and an enormous walk around before you actually can get something like that going. So the pre-battle setup is much more difficult to do. You're drinking some beers. Ah, nice, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna be drinking some later on, in about probably 12 hours. So it's still a little bit off in time. May take a nap in between as well, so I can, you know, actually have a bit of fun with the boys. But, oh well. Oh well, right now we got StarCraft 2 to cast. And things are gonna pick up once again here with a Stargate. Another Stargate play from a Hurricane. Interesting indeed. Gonna be curious to see whether or not he once again commits to the Adepts. The Adepts, in the end, it does seem like did more harm than good for him. And that could just be because Solar got a little bit lucky with his, you know, just making a lot of roaches there. I'm not entirely certain if he actually saw the Twilight Council coming in. I don't think he did, but yeah. How come you guys use Trovo and not Twitch? I asked because I cannot connect Trovo to my TV. I see. Well, it's actually because Trovo is helping us out quite a bit money-wise. They are spending a lot of money on the StarCraft 2 scene. They're helping us out with the prize pool, which makes the players happy. And they're actually providing us as well with a bit of extra payments to stream on their channel. So they are helping out me as a caster with some extra money in pocket. It's not a lot, really, by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, it's still quite a reasonable amount. That makes you go like, alright, well, it's better than nothing, right? And of course, they're helping out ITaX as a team also. ITaX benefits quite a bit. Everyone's gonna make money. Yeah, it is a professional scene after all, and I mean, you kind of got to go with the way the wind blows sometimes, you know. They've been really nice to us, so I'm not too upset about it personally. It's just a couple of those things that aren't integrated yet, of course, with the TV connection and such, as you've mentioned. But it does seem like Trovo is quite adamant about trying to implement as much of these features as possible. So maybe in the near future it will be available for you as well. Who knows? Hopefully, right? Alright, lair attack is coming up. Twitch doesn't have a TV connection either. Well, then I don't know what's going on anymore in this world. There's quite a bit of the circling presence here. I mean, the Adepts apparently on the wrong side of town. Getting the third base in a bit of trouble here. The Oracles need to start zapping away. We'll be able to do so. The Adepts, they're getting 2 kills so far. Need to be careful. That's a lot of circlings everywhere, really. One of the things with Solar sometimes is that he doesn't drone enough in the ZVP matchup. That is something kind of unique to Solar. And we don't see a lot of other Zergs do, but he definitely does do that sometimes. And this time around he has opted to go for a lot of Zerglings, but I'm not sure if that is going to be enough on its own either. I mean, he really would like to get the cancel on this third base. That would be a great way to kind of make these Zerglings pay for themselves, but I don't think that he will be able to do it. And he is being pushed backwards right now, getting 2 probes. I'm not sure if that is going to make up for the fact that he stopped making quite as many drones as he could have had otherwise. We don't have any real type of aggression coming out of Hurricane here either, right? He's a lot more committed to the 3 base economy here. And is looking for the tacking up a lot earlier on as well. Alright, so that is already pretty cool to see, of course. A bit of a different matchup. And actually, we're going to make it even more different. It's going to be Swarm Host in play here, guys. There will be Swarm Host. Swarm Host, actually, one of these units of the Zerg, the Zerg army that could benefit from the long, windy roads of Romanticide, right? You can utilize those blockades, basically, as a way to kind of protect your Swarm Host as you're walking around. And that does appear to be the plan here for Mr. Solar, at this moment in time at least, is going at this without a Night Swim, right? So no Night Swim on the field just quite yet. May get it at a later point in time, but is trying to skip out on that tech tree for the time being. The Swarm Host did get scouted quite early on as well, so I'm not sure how much he's still going to commit to this. Maybe just, you know, a reasonable amount. 12 of them. I'd say that is more than plenty. You don't really need that many more. Just get yourself this amount, and then, you know, you have enough to just do some real damage through the poking. Roaches afterwards. Gotta still have enough forces as well to kind of keep the Protoss army away and removed from the Swarm Host when they do not have their cocoons on their back ready to be popped. Oh, those transfusions, absolutely beautiful. Not a single one of those units went down. I got very, very low there very quickly. Alright, status trap. You gotta love this. This is a very good idea by Hurricane. Let's see if it's gonna help him out in any way, shape or form. There's another one over here. So, oh, that's only 2 of them, unfortunately. A lot of roaches though. They are acting as somewhat force fields at this moment in time as well. Now, Solar really doesn't have to push with his roaches at the same time. I think he kind of wanted to try and get that flank on both sides, but it's not entirely necessary, right? Can just allow himself to stay on the low ground here, have a good concave against a Protoss that potentially might try to jump down here. And then just wait for those Swarm Hosts to reclaim that little Locust. There we go. Oh, that's a big shot on that Disruptor right there. In come this Locust once again, this time around on top of the Stalkers. Nice dodge on his own Disruptor shot. That's always a shame if you do hit all your units with your own Disruptor shot. Never quite as good. Solar doing a pretty good job so far at clearing out this Protoss army. A lot of those Stalkers, of course, on the right side there, because they had to deal with the Swarm Host attack. But now that they've all come together, it looks like it was a little bit too early for Solar to try and press his luck and his advantage. May have had to wait for maybe 1 or 2 extra waves of Locust now. His Roach numbers here on the other side, not that fantastic anymore, right? Not as good as it used to be. Where is he trying to go? He's going to try to... Okay, still just go for the Stalkers. Only getting 3 of them here. Bit of a weird engagement there with those Locusts. Not the cleanest of controls that we got there. That's okay. Alright, now trying his luck from the other side. A lot of Stalkers here already on the hunt for those Locusts. The Queen's kind of acting as a personal guard, stopping those Stalkers from advancing. There we go, this may be a much better engagement for those Locusts. Getting about a similar amount of these Stalkers, but that is with the shield battery overcharge as well, of course. Hurricane his army, that is the main thing here, right? He needs to get his army growing. Would love to see him attempt another base as well. Or another thing that he can try to do, right? Instead of just trying to absorb all the damage from those continuous Locust shots, you can try to get aggressive yourself, and that is what he's doing with that War Prism. It's one of the main things I always say against the Swarm Host. If you manage to be aggressive on the other side of the field and force your opponent to deal with that, suddenly it's not that great that he has Swarm Host, right? Because you can't really do these wave attacks this way. You can't just be like, alright, now please don't attack me because I don't have my Swarm Host ready to shoot the Locust. It's just not... Oh my dear, that could have been... Oh god, those are pretty good regardless. Could have been even better, but that was already pretty darn impressive shooting there. ITaX. Okay. Big Zealot warp in, and this is one of those main things, right, that you want to do. Unfortunately, he was not aware that those Swarm Hosts are in the top right side. Would have had a great opportunity to just kind of collapse in on those. He needs to be bit more careful here. Oh, this Locust coming in from the other side, almost getting a very solid surround. Disruptor. Oh, that one Disruptor shot, that was insane. That was insane. I didn't even see that secondary Disruptor. Well, I saw the Disruptor. I was thinking to myself, when is it going to shoot? And then all of a sudden the entire Zerg army just kind of exploded. Crazy. A bit too quick on the jump forward there. The Blink Stalkers trying to get rid of all those Banelings, but not quite being able to do so. A couple too many of them. Nexus does get cancelled here. And looks like that Colossus as well. Bit of a shame that all those Banelings were utilized for that Colossus. Probably didn't have to do that, but still. Definitely something to be said about the Locust control of Solo, though. It seems like he could benefit a little bit from just kind of paying a slight quicker bit of attention to them, right? As soon as they are able to kind of jump on those units, they really need to. There's a lot of extra damage you can get. They shoot pretty quickly, so maybe that's like 2 or 3 extra volleys you could get by just dropping at an optimal time instead of just kind of dropping after you've already ran past most of the units a little bit. While Prism harassment is still happening as well, though. Full Zealots here. Together with that War Prism. That War Prism is an absolute MVP for the time being. We have started incorporating the Nidus Worm as well, by the way, here for Solar. He's got himself his big worm right there. I'm loving the harassment from Hurricane here. I mean, he brought Solar down to a 45 worker count. I mean, that is very strong indeed. He's managed to hold on back at home relatively well also. Let's take a look at the units lost tab. Yeah, that is very, very good, in fact, for somebody that is playing against Swarm Hosts, right? And not being as aggressive. Very good stuff here. Solar definitely nowhere near the amount of value that you would like to obtain with those swarm hosts, especially considering that he's not ahead in bases that much either. Or economy for that matter. Looks like really low. Maybe Solar. Okay, now will not be able to push on through. Solar taps on out of there. As he lost 22 extra workers back at home. He realized this was his last hope and he was not breaking the front door. Alright. Nice 2 games in a row there going into Solar's favor. And if you're wondering, why is this guy whispering? Why is this guy trying to be sounding mysterious or something like this? It's because it's still 6:30 AM over here, and I don't want to be shouting in the weekend, in the early morning. So that is why we're having a little bit of a quieter day right now. Trying to contain all the excitement and the shouting as much as possible. But who knows, maybe some people will prefer this type, right? And we'll have to wait and see. I guess Solar is going to take it all. Maybe it's possible. It is possible. I mean, we got some pretty strong plays in the next series as well, of course, still remaining. That could put some, how would you call this? Dirt in the soup, the proverbial soup, as they'd say. I mean, Zest and Dream, 2 very strong players as well. Zest in a similar boat as Solar, I feel like. A bit inconsistent right now, but still, when they show up in full force, they show up to kick some serious ass and do quite something onto their opponents. So far, it looks like Solar has a pretty good grasp on the ZVP matchup, though, at least versus Hurricane. And maybe he's going to have to play ZVT as well, of course. That would be the different matchup right now. And Terrans, they do seem to have a pretty good grasp on that matchup as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, regardless, guys, here we go. It is going to be Submarine as our third map. A very small map, which is surprising after seeing the 2 very big macro maps, right? Interesting to then suddenly go to Submarine. 2 big maps. They must have been chosen by 2, well, but one by each player. I would assume Giganatha was picked by Solar. Romanticide probably by Hurricane. Which would mean Solar picked Submarine here. Is he planning some sort of a cheese? I don't know. He's already got that Overlord in the mix, so it's not going to be a spawning pool first. He's going to go for a very quick hatchery here once again, but that is still going to get blocked because, well, this is the shortest map that we have available in the entire map pool. Anyway, regardless, I need to still introduce these players. Bottom right side, the blue Zerg fighting for the Kaisi Gamers, Mr. Solar. Top left side, the red Protoss fighting teamless, he is Hurricane. Alright, the probe here just kind of want to stick around for as long as possible, of course. See what is happening. I have a good idea and understanding of how the Zerg player is going to be operating here or conducting himself for as long as possible in this early part. I guess the main thing you're looking for is the timing on that third base, and maybe to see whether or not there's a double gas being taken. Is there still gas being mined after the spawning pool gets completed? Those types of questions. Those are the main hitting questions. Are we going to get ourselves a queen in production, or is he going to go for that third? He will go for the queen here. Double queen, in fact. The metabolic boost was being upgraded. I'm fairly certain he saw that as well. He got close by enough to see it, so should feel pretty comfortable with his knowledge right now. He's going to start heading back towards his own place on the map. So he's going for the Twilight Council here. Twilight Council like the idea. It's a small map, right? So the benefit of having that that Stargate with the quick, nimble units to minimize the distance on a big map, not as important here. Oh, thank you for the follow, Mr. Kroners. Welcome to the crew. Oh, nice bit of micro there on that Adept. Just gonna standing on top of that drone, of course, will not be allowed to transforming into a spore crawler there, no matter how much you would like to. Twilight Council here getting scouted by Solar. That could be a problem. That could definitely be a problem. Still just gonna commit to the Adapt Glaives though. Will not shy away from that opportunity to try and get damaged on that with those little Protoss women. Is that how they are women, right? Third base for a hatchery. Surprise, surprise. Oh, what's that sentence? Oh god, it's early. Anyway. Ro4, of course, for Solar. This is where it comes down to. I mean, it's a very rough position here for Hurricane because, well, I mean, getting scouted like this is quite inexcusable in a way, right? Just two Zerglings running in, figuring out exactly what you're doing, what you're up to. It is incredibly rough, and Solar, he is in a position where he is just going to be able to do exactly, precisely what he needs to in order to defend against this exact thing, and that is what he is doing right now, right? He's getting himself the Zerglings, he's gotten himself the, oh, okay, he does get the Overlords. He's getting himself the Roaches right now, yeah, the Roach tech up in early. So this shouldn't really work anymore here for Hurricane. Still gonna give it a good attempt though, but I'm not anticipating that much here. Quite a lot of Zerglings here, also on the top right side. We do see a lot more Zergs nowadays actually being so comfortable against the Adept attack, especially if they know it's coming, that they will still be able to get counterattack damage done as well at the same time. That's what we're seeing here from Solar as well. Feeling very, very comfortable, and it's going to send quite a good squadron of Zerglings here onto that front door. There's only a single Adept. The Adept's actually moving out right now. It's going to start looking for a third base perhaps, potentially. Or just to check out if there's Zerglings there? I'm not entirely certain. Meaning he's making disruptors now. It's clear that he's not going to commit to the Adepts all too much. Although he is, you know what? He is still jumping in right now. Was not anticipating this. That is quite... Oh, that is so cost inefficient. That was so many Adepts going down for one single Roach. That is, okay, well, I mean, I think that may be it, guys. I know we got disruptors. I know actually with the Warp Prism and the Warp Prism speed on the way as well, that could still become quite a bit of fancy stuff. But I'm struggling to see a real clear path to victory here for our Protoss player, right? It's just taken so much self-inflicted damage from trying to do those Adept attacks. It just didn't get anywhere. Even though he knew he got scouted, he still went for it. He still committed. Now here he is. Oh, well, to make things worse, eh? To make things even worse. Zerglings into the main base. Those Adepts right there, not really having the best of times. Luckily, they are getting to protect those probes. All of them do stay alive, so that's pretty good. That is pretty good, but more stuff is getting scouted here. The 3 extra gateways being warped in. I guess he didn't see the Robo Bay, but he knows about the disruptors, so he already knows that is a thing, of course. He's seen the Colossus as well. So, yeah, he has seen pretty much everything that he needs to. Knows what he's up against once again. See how he reacts. He's gonna get himself a Baneling nest. Interesting. Banelings are pretty good against Adepts after all, so Maybe he is anticipating more and more adepts to be taking part of this. Not a bad call. Wouldn't be too upset about seeing some Mutalisk being mixed in here either, right? I mean, if your opponent is kind of skimping out on the Stalkers and then going straight into the Robo, there's just not that much against those Mutalisk right now. And you're going to be able to shut down that War Prism harassment, right? That is continuously going around. Still obtaining value. One of the main ways as a Protoss now to get that comeback going is with a War Prism with speed and a Disruptor just kind of floating around, getting insane connections continuously. Luckily for Hurricanes, did still have a warp in available of 2 units. Manages to block off that that run around from the Zerglings. Hurricane backing up, making a lot more Stalkers this time around. Deb's trying to figure out where the hell those Zerglings went, but looks like it's not going to be their lucky day. Will not be able to find the Zerglings. Does not manage to move to intercept 2 Disruptors again in that War Prism. Oh, there they are, finding them now. The Zerglings attempting to kind of move around there. Oh, that could be nice. That is quite nice. Oh, losing a Disruptor though, that is inexcusable. Especially because it already shot its Disruptive Nova. That is rough indeed. We'll still try to continue onwards. As another Nova available, I would believe, pretty soon. How is he going to try to utilize this? Seeing this coming in. Oh, that could be a big one. Oh, he misses. He misses. He just whiffed a shot. That could have been massive right there. Okay, doesn't miss the force field, so that is nice, but needs to target down those banelings, otherwise they will just roll in here and oh, they come in from all sides. It's a bit too much to handle, it would appear here for Mr. Hurricane, although actually maybe I spoke too soon. Running back to the bases, doesn't manage to save that Disruptor though. That is again a bit of a shame. The counterattack with the Adepts didn't do much either though, to be fair, but I guess it kept a lot of the Zerg reinforcements back at home, so Hurricane just barely hanging on here. And you know what, the main thing I suppose is that he didn't take any economic damage, but he lost a lot of his very valuable units, right? A Disruptor, Colossus, all those sentries as well. He's gonna have to remake those sentries. They are expensive units, guys. They do not come for free. Now we are gonna have a replacement Disruptor. It will be a Colossus drop here coming around. Getting himself onto some of these drones. It's taking him a little bit to actually get all the kills going, but you know, he's getting something, right? 6 of them. But then again, that also means, oh my god, that Disruptor shot. Wow. Okay, you know what? Either Hurricane just misses entirely, or he gets the entire Zerg army in one big connection. There's no in between for this man. Banelings, okay. Well, I'm starting to like this position here for Hurricane a little bit. Just needs to watch out for those Banelings, not take too much AoE damage. Nice Disruptor shot once again. Not sure why he warped in that amount of Stalkers when he's still warping in Stalkers actually. Alright, no. That is not working out. Making some good plays, but I don't know, maybe with a couple of Zealots, maybe with a couple of Adepts there. I mean, those Zerglings, they were just getting rid of those Stalkers so quickly. All the Stalkers trying to shoot the Zerglings as well, of course, because they are on the forefront. And if you just spend most of your time shooting Zerglings, then you're not getting to deal with the Roaches and the Ravages with those Stalkers in time either. And that is a big problem. Need to have some troops capable of really dealing with the Zerglings there as well, of course. And it can't just be a single Colossus. Oh, right, fuck. Sorry guys, it is still 6 AM here. Thank you for giving me the heads up. I woke up at 5:30 AM, guys. I am gonna need your help here now and again. I very much appreciate it. Oh, there's some connections right there. Oh, nice force fields. Oh, the Banelings still managed to wiggle their way through. But that is rough. That was really just that one force field up here that allowed all those Banelings to gain access suddenly into the Protoss army and get massive connections right there. This Hurricane had nowhere to split to. It's the power of sleepiness. It's a lot of conviction there. Oh, nice yoink on that disruptor, and there we go. That is that GG. Solar will take game number 3. So, you know, eventually he does get himself a second victory here, but a little bit later than I had anticipated. It was a weird game anyway, right? That second game. Didn't feel too convincing towards Hurricane either. Alright. Next map. Oxide. Let me actually double check to see who... Yeah, Solar. Solar being the player that gets Jekenneth, huh? And getting himself Submarine. So I'm surprised actually that he wanted to play on Submarine here. Very surprised actually about that. Lightshade, more of a Zerg map. Similar short distance, but feels like Zerg just more comfortable on that one. Alright, game number 4. Bottom left side, we got ourselves a blue Zerg player. Fighting for the Kaisi Gamers, he is Solar. Top right side, that red Protoss player fighting for nobody but himself. Actually, he is fighting for into the community here, but that's not an official team, I think. Anyway, he is Hurricane. We all agree Zest is winning the next series, right? I'm not so sure. I wouldn't call that game too quickly. Dream is a very, very strong Terran player right now, and he has been getting a lot of gaining a lot of momentum. And that is definitely a player you have to be quite careful of. I'm not so sure. And Zest is just inconsistent, right? That is the problem right there. Zest being inconsistent could be a problem there as well. I've never seen these players play before at 2 PM, so it is 2 PM for them. I'm out of my depth right now. Well, it's a nice thing here for Solar. Being able to get that hatchery down on the low ground, of course. will be getting his overlords in a awkward position here, of course. The pillar of death, as they say. Going out for ice cream, nice. Surprised you're still allowed to go out for ice cream. Man, the Netherlands is just in complete shutdown. Like, it is just, oh god, it's horrible. Actually horrible. Right, once again we're having a Stargate play here, by the way. I believe that is how we opened up on the Memento side as well. As well as the other map, the Gigantha, right? And submarine, we went with the Twilight Council straight off the bat. Yeah. Alright. So, 3 out of 4 games so far. We'll start off with that Void Ray tech. Gotta say, I really do enjoy that Void Ray tech. It is one of the better ways right now for the Protoss to try and combat the Zerg. It's still very versatile. You're shutting down all the scouting, making it a lot more difficult for the Zerg to figure out exactly what they're supposed to be doing here. There we go. First blood on the Overlord. It's good to see as well Zergs though already kind of having adjusted to this, right? Look at the Overlord spread on the map. They're all inside of the base of Solar here. They're no longer sending them across that easily when they know it's a high likelihood of having that Stargate tech being a thing. Actually, it says, sorry, Solar. Once again, kind of making quite a few of these Zerglings. It's not as many though, right? Nowhere near the amount that we saw some of the previous times here. Funnily enough, he's not on that high of a worker count either. He did lose 6 of them, by the way, so that may have something to do with it. That may have something to do with it. Is that all from this Oracle? No, just 4 from that one. I suppose it was the Adept as well, still getting 2 kills, right? The Adept from here. I mean, we were looking at it. I just wasn't registering, I think. Circlings, once again, kind of getting a look around. I mean... yeah. Seeing whatever they can. Guys, I don't wanna speak out of turn here, but I think we might be seeing a Void Ray army composition, and I bloody love Void Ray army compositions. I think it is one of the better ways for the Protoss to kind of deal with the Zergs at the moment. Get yourself that Storm as well. Now, one thing I'm very interested about every time when I see Protoss go for the Void Rays is how do they go from just pure Void Rays towards the Storm? Right? How do they start unlocking the Storm upgrade? There's some Protoss that like to get themselves some Immortals in between. Some of them just like to try and rush towards the Templar tech, so they get themselves the Dark... Sorry, not the Dark Templar. I just saw the Dark Shrine coming up here, but they get themselves the Archons as quickly as possible. And you definitely do need a bit of a buffer. Now that buffer may be provided here by the help of all these shield batteries that are coming up. There's a lot of cannons and a lot of shield batteries here, to be fair. That's quite a bit of Zerg also. And those Ravagers, of course, they are going to be the artillery to shoot down these shield batteries. That does seem to be an awful lot of them. And Solar, is he just going to rotate around? Oh boy, that would be quite a nice play indeed. Just removing those static defenses from the equation here. Is he still going to try? Because it does appear like the Queens might want to move backwards here as well at the same time. Not entirely certain what the plan is at this moment. Okay, yeah, he is going to move back. Very, very awkward kind of setup here for Solar. That is not going to be able to do anything here. Okay, Void Rays need to move. Vials, they do still hurt quite a bit. All those Queens are going to go down though. In the Void Rays, they will have an absolute field day on these Zerg numbers. I think Solar may have just sacrificed himself to the greater good of Hurricane here. All those Queens are just absolutely gone right now. He needs to have himself those Hydralisks. Okay, yeah, that is just barely enough now to really force those Void Rays backwards. I'm a bit surprised he didn't send more of his Gateway forces as well. May have been an opportunity there, really, with the amount of just killing he was doing there in the middle of the map. So that may have been enough. We would love to see more Zaun and Parting. How to get tilted when you just cheese. I mean, I think we'll have Zaun tomorrow. Parting, I don't think he's going to be joining in tomorrow, but yeah, Zaun should be here tomorrow, same time. Different place though, to be fair, but also a different cast. I won't be there because you know, this 6 AM stuff is once is enough for me per weekend. All right. I do like my sleep. Okay, so DTs do get scouted here, or at least they should have been. Should have been spotted. Circlings do manage to get themselves into the main base here. The Hydras need to be careful. Not the best front units. You want to have those Roaches and Ravages kind of in the front. There we go. Let them tank the damage. Doing pretty good so far. Careful. There's no Overseer here, guys. There's no Overseer here at all. There's none on the way either, is there? No, there is not. All of these Hydras are going to go down. 6 Workers also go down because, well, those DTs are everywhere. The Zerglings trying to get on top of this, but they are not enough. The Spore Crawler is going to go down as well. That is quite the rough bit of damage right here now being inflicted upon Solar. Even one of those DTs being able to get away. Die. That's rough. A lot of workers killed right there. 13 kills on that one DT right here. 13 kills. That is ridiculous. Okay, so another base coming up here for Hurricane. This is an absolutely fantastic spot here for Hurricane. He has found himself in a wonderful position with a lot of advantages going for him here. Not just the obvious ones, but also the upgrades right now, right? He's got the tech route also on the way. That is one of the later techs that he still needs to unlock. I suppose he could delve a little bit deeper into the Robo tech as well with the Robo Bay, but doesn't necessarily need to right here, right now. Unless if we have a ton of lurkers on the way, which is actually happening. So maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe we do actually need those disruptors a little bit earlier rather than later. But, I mean, Immortals, they do okay against lurkers as well. It's just like they don't do well against those Hydras. So it becomes a much more awkward kind of engagement here for the Protoss. Does he have an observer here? I don't think he does, so it's a quick battle where he will have to turn around. Look at that, yeah, starts up an observer right now. He doesn't have a single disruptor, guys. That is ridiculous. Wow. Hurricane is doing a really good job now, actually. Thoroughly impressed. Hurricane. If you're looking for a nice Korean Protoss to pick up, looks like Hurricane might be an alright choice. Sure, he doesn't hit every disruptor shot, but the ones that he does hit, the ones that he pays attention to, right? Those are the ones that matter. Look at that immortal count. Now I'm very interested to see how this immortal count is going to fare against the lurkers. I mean, it's clear that he is planning to take on lurkers here with this army. Either that, or he thinks his opponent is making a lot of ultralisk. Those rocks got down so quickly now. Alright, here we are. Wants to get a good concave going. I'm not sure if I like pushing through a little choke like this. Okay, nice feedbacks there onto the Vipers. That's very important to manage. This could be a nice area to attack overall. It's a bit better than the other one at least. Still gonna have to watch that spread though, of course. And we have ourselves the fleet beacon on the way. More stargates as well being constructed. Looks like this is an army that is not planning to stay here for that long. The High Templar actually rotating around on an awkward angle there, and a lot of them will get picked off, if not most of them. Now suddenly with just Immortals here versus those Hydras as well, that is not a fight you want to be taking. Especially with just the Void Race there. Every time when Hurricane tries to turn around and buy himself a little bit of breathing room against those Hydras, the Lurkers are already there and are ready to just shut down any advancements of the Protoss army. The Protoss army, I mean, that is lovely stuff right here. A lot of run-bys happening at the same time. Maybe forcing Solar to slow down the offensive here. And that could be enough breathing room perhaps for Hurricane to get himself an actual defense going. Because with the way it was going right then and there, it looks like it was going to go very sour very quickly. Just barely not getting that hatchery. That would have been very nice to have, of course. Alright, Hurricane not even attempting to deal with the Lurkers right now. Solar realizing that this is a problem. Will be moving in with most of those Lurkers as well. Still back towards his own town. Doesn't have the greatest angles here, but actually Hurricane overcommitting to that chase, I'd say. Didn't have to, and taking a ton of AoE damage trying to rotate around that corner here. Very rough stuff. Does manage to get the recall. Does manage to get the hatchery, but for an enormous price here. Losing so many of his own. Army supplies. Look at the army supply right now. Or more than double. More than double the amount available here for Solar. Solar absolutely should be able to just push on through here right now. And, well, as long as he doesn't die to DTs, of course. Did he lose his Overseer? He lost his Overseer. He lost his bloody Overseer. It's coming back. Alright, there we go. That should be enough now. Alright, and I think, not speaking out of term here, I think that could be it here for our Red Protoss player. He had an amazing couple of games. He had himself quite a good one in this one in particular as well. Really enjoyed the way he played, but just was not enough. Just did not manage to get a counter versus the Lurkers out in time. He had a lot of Immortals, but the Immortals, they are just absolutely horrendously awful against those Hydras, and that is just some great control from Solar there. Not ever allowing those Immortals anywhere near the Lurkers without the Hydras just there ready to intercept whatever they can. Okay, just look at that, right? That is the power of the Immortal, just running in on those Lurkers when there's no Hydra support. Just for a short bomb and losing that amount of his Lurkers, that is, you know, they are quite effective, but without anything else to actually deal with the Hydras. I guess he had Storms, but still, that is a rough one. Zap, zap, zap. And that is going to be it. 11 probes down. GG is called. Solar will be able to take game number 4, and with it, the best of 5 series here, putting himself in the best of 7 as our first competitor.